Lakshmi International School Sarigam Academic Year 2020 to 2021 Digital Lesson Plan.
When you were younger, did you ever wish that you were someone else, or that you could do something that was not a part of your daily routine?
The students will be able to appreciate the vocations of different kind of people with their smallness or greatness, to explore the dreams and ambitions of a child, to understand how and why we often yearn for things that we do not have.
Today we are going to talk about poem Vocation by Rabindranath Tagore.
What is vocation? A vocation is an occupation to which a person is especially drawn or for which they are suited, trained or qualified. So my dear students, here starts the poem Vocation by Rabindranath Tagore. As you know kids, before starting the lesson, we learn new words. The first one is hawker, a person who makes money by selling goods he carries with him. For an example, the hawker across the street was selling vegetables. Second word is crystal, that is transparent glass. For an example, children drank milk out of crystal glasses. Third word is spade. It's a gardening tool with a broad metal blade and a long handle used for digging. For an example, the boy dug a hole in the lawn with his spade. So my dear students, let's start the poem Vocation. When the gong sounds 10 in the morning and I walk to school by early, every day I meet the hawker crying, "Bangles, crystal bangles." There is nothing to hurry him on. There is no road he must take, no place he must go, no time when he must come home. I wish I were a hawker, spending my day in the road, crying bangles, crystal bangles. In this first stanza, the child says that when the gong strikes in the morning at 10 o'clock, it is also the time for him to go to school. On his way to his school, he used to watch a salesman who would shout out to sell his bangles. While looking at him, the child had a thought that the vendor was free. He was in no hurry to reach anywhere, unlike the child who had to reach his school on time and come back home. He thought that the bangle seller was free of any time. Place means he was free to move any place unlike him. He felt as if he was under strict observations and the vendor was enjoying complete freedom. Thus, in this stanza, he was so impressed by his freedom that he wished to be a hawker. He wished to move freely and shout just like him in the streets. When at 4 in the afternoon I come back from the school, I can see through the gate of that house the gardener digging the ground. He does what he likes with his spade. He soils his clothes with dust. Nobody takes him to task if he gets baked in the sun or gets wet. I wish I were a gardener digging away at the garden, with nobody to stop me from digging. Here in the second stanza, when the child is coming home from the school at 4 in the afternoon, noticed the gardener through the gate of the house. He would peep out and notice him digging soil. Here, the child is attracted by his freedom to be in the dust and do the things of his choice with his tools. He thought that the gardener had the freedom to dirty his clothes with soil, play with his tools, stay in the sun for longer hours, get wet with sweat, or do anything he wished for. And also, he won't get any punishment for all this. But if he would have been in that place, he would have been surely punished for all this. So completely unaware of all the hardships of that worker, he was attracted to be a gardener, to do things of his choice, and no one around to stop him.
Just as it gets dark in the evening and my mother sends me to bed, I can see through my open window the watchman walking up and down. The lane is dark and lonely. The street lamp stands like a giant with one red eye in its head. The watchman swings his lantern and walks with his shadow at his side, and never once goes to bed in his life. I wish I were a watchman, walking the streets all night, chasing the shadows with my lantern. In third stanza, the boy says that at night his mother would send him to sleep in his room, where there used to be an open window. From there, he would notice a watchman walking here and there from one side to another side in the dark, lonely street. He also had a lamp in his hand which looked to him like a superhuman with a red eye in its head. The child is so attracted to his moves that he wished to be a watchman who could walk all night in the streets, running after his shadows with a lantern in the hand. So here in this stanza, finally he sees a watchman and wishes to be like him, because he can walk all alone in the streets, playing with the shadows, and he feels because he is not allowed to roam outside. Therefore, he wants to be a watchman so that he could do all the things the watchman did, and as being a child, he was unable to do all that. Lastly, the summary of the poem Vocation is: while on his way to school, even at home, the child meets hawker, gardener, and a watchman. In this poem, the child speaks of them. The hawker sells the bangles, the gardener digs the soil, and the watchman keeps watch at night. He feels envious of them because they all seem free while he is not. Every day on his way to school, he sees a hawker selling bangles. He seems to choose any road he likes. He has no fixed time, even of returning home. The child wishes that he were a hawker. From the gate of his house, he sees the gardener digging the ground and soiling his clothes. No one asks him to dig ground or not to soil his clothes. He is so free that the child aspires to be a gardener. At night, through the open window of his room, he sees the watchman moving up and down the lane. No one tells the watchman that it is night and he must go to bed. Hence, the child wishes to be a watchman. So here in this poem, there are dreams of a child that are spoken out, but the child only sees the freedom and not the hard work that is done by all these three persons in the poem. Thank you.